we're going to thank them. So we're going to move forward to the next session of the presentations, and you can email, well, you can text us your questions along the way, and we will respond after this end of this part. And also, if there's any question we won't able to respond during the webinar, we will respond using email, or you can just email us to our EMFAC2014 email account. Couple of questions in the previous session is a pretty good leeway of how direct to perfect leeway to this session. So, as Sam mentioned, EMFAC is developed to support planning, rulemaking, emission analysis. So this part of the webinar will provide us some summary information on how to use EMFAC tool. This table here provides a summary of the recommended tools in EMFAC to support various types of analysis. Before getting into this table, we would like to emphasize that ARB submitted the EMFAC2014 to US EPA, and EPA is in the process of reviewing our submittal package. So prior to receiving the EPA's approval, the official EMFAC model is EMFAC2011. So that should be the model to use to develop state implementation plan, conformity, and conduct SB375 analysis. Unless otherwise approved by the project-specific approving agency, users should use the US EPA-approved EMFAC version. A couple of participants asked about the greenhouse gas emissions. Another thing we would like to emphasize is EMFAC is not the official greenhouse gas emission inventory model. If user interested in the greenhouse gas inventory related issue, please visit the climate change emission inventory website listed here. So this is summary table provides an overview. In the next couple slides, I will show you a comparison of information that user can get from different tools. And later in the following session, my colleagues will discuss more detail on individual tools. So basically, EMFAC we're going to present 4 different parts within EMFAC, or extension of EMFAC. So the EMFAC model EMFAC model itself and the EMFAC web database tool. If the user is interested in reviewing the criteria pollutant emissions in general, you can use the EMFAC model, run the EMFAC model, or more conveniently, we provide the results from EMFAC and post it on the web as a web database tool. I think one of the participants asked about the activity used for state implementation plans and the conformity. For state implementation plan and conformity analysis, users should use EMFAC, but with a activity that's from the metropolitan planning organizations required by law. And similarly for SB375 analysis, users should also use the MPO activity. And for both EMFAC 2011 and EMFAC 2014, we have the options for doing SB375 analysis. So that should be the function that users should use for the SB375. For CEQA, user will need localized emission rate specific for the project level, and you can use either the EMFAC14 will be the emission rate mode, or in EMFAC11 we provide a PL tool for this purpose. If you need to do strategic planning with alternative fuel and technology penetrations, and would like to also include upstream or well-to-tank emissions, then the Visions scenario planning tool will be the best for this purpose. And this website will lead you to more information on Vision. So this slide provides a diagram for the EMFAC 2014 model structures. EMFAC 2014 have two modes. One, the emission mode will calculate emissions, and emission rate mode will provide the emission rates. Depending on the activity provided or used for the model, user can get a default emission, default inventory with a default VNT that's built in, come with the model, or user can have the user-defined activity put through the model and get a custom inventory. The green box here shows a web database. It's not in the EMFAC model proper, but it contains the emission inventory, the default emission inventory from the EMFAC model, generated from the EMFAC model. And that's what we posted online currently. In the future, we do plan to use custom activity and actually use the MPO VNT as an input for the custom activity mode, and generate emission inventory to post it on the web database. So although the web database is not the part of the EMFAC model itself, it does contain the results that generate using EMFAC 2014. Another part of the model is the emission rate modes. For the emission rate modes, the user will lead to a project level assessment where user can input or select the project specific parameters such as relative humidity and temperatures, and get a project specific emission rates. This can be used as SQL analysis. In the next slide, we're going to show a comparison of 4 data types. When I say that will be the data types, the information provided in the default inventory, the custom inventory, and the web database, as well as the emission rate. For EMFAC 2014, as noted in the previous slide, have several modes and tools serving different purposes. So therefore, each data type will provide different level of details. So this table provides a summary of the data that user will be able to get from EMFAC 2014 and web database. So that will be the emission mode with default activity, custom activity, emission rates modes, web data tool, and all of those, all 4 types of outputs will provide season that will be annual, summer, and winter by speed and by process, such as running, idle, evap, and daily emissions, as well as vehicle classes in either EMFAC 2007 and 2011 category. When all through the rest of the presentation, when we refer to EMFAC 2007 vehicle classes, that will be the traditional EMFAC with I think like 15, 20 vehicle classes. For EMFAC 11, that will be more extended vehicle classes for heavy duty and medium heavy T6, T7. In general, EMFAC will provide emissions emission or emission rate at sub-area level. Again, throughout the presentation, you probably will hear a lot about sub-area. When we refer to sub-area, that's the level of detail that's cover the county, air basin, and air district level to that. So we can combine the sub-area to get, say, the air basin level, air district level, or county level, or MPO level. So for all four data type, we'll provide the sub-area level, but for users more user-friendly approach for the web database, we do provide the more aggregate level. What that means is if users select, for example, San Joaquin Air Quality AQMD then district, then you can get just one data set, one set of inventory from the web database aggregated. But for all the other three, you will get the A sub area within the districts separately. But they all reported. You just need to do the aggregations. For model year, except the cluster activity does not provide model year level details, but all the other three will provide model year level detail. And as mentioned, they all, in terms of vehicle classes, all will provide either both EMFAC 2007 and 2011 vehicle class level details. But since the user, when they do project level analysis, they don't necessarily have the detail by the all the vehicle classes. We offer the options for in the emission rate modes that, for example, have the truck versus non-trucks, so have a little bit different aggregation level for the vehicle classes. Emission rate modes, or PL mode, is also the only data type that will provide the user can use user-specific temperature, relative humidity. All the other will only provide default only built in EMFAC. Due to the space constraint, and also it will make the query run slower. Currently, we do not offer the hourly emissions or emission rates in the web database tool, but it's available for other data type. Again, for electric vehicle is reported separately as a field type for in the default activity emission rate modes in web database, but it's included or combined into the gasoline vehicles in the custom activity. As Sam mentioned earlier, we included certain type of vehicles in natural gas vehicles in EMFAC2014. More specifically, we include natural gas urban buses and solid waste collection vehicles. We do not output the emissions by itself for the default activity, custom activity, or web database tool. They are combined into the diesel vehicles emission inventory for the same category. However, for emission rates, for doing the project level analysis, we do offer the emission rates for natural gas for those two categories. Some user might be interested in catalyst versus non-catalyst vehicles. So we do not offer the options for emission rates or in the web database tool. It is available through the default activity and the custom activity in the CTF format. The CTF format is a it's a format, the output formats that you most usually use in ARB internally to generate emission inventory for database use. We do not include methane, total hydrocarbon, and total PN in the web database tool. But if you're interested in that, that inventory numbers, you can get it from other data types. You probably will see the this website throughout the presentation, but this will be the one source that you can go to and get lead you to the different information you'll be interested in. So, for example, you'll find the installation EMFAC2014 installation package and the web database tool for emissions and emission rates. And you can also find the user's guide for EMFAC2014. The technical documentation will have the major changes and the more detailed assumptions we made for EMFAC2014. The project level assessment handbooks and how to use EMFAC2014 to do the project level assessment. And it has a comprehensive table of EMFAC topics. So that will provide the user to the documentation stuff, for example, how we do the soak times, how we use the soak times or do the evap emission. So that's including the current assumption and some historical assumption we made. Since you're on this webinar, probably most of you have already joined our listserv to receive emails. So that will be one place to get automatic information that what's new. For example, as I mentioned, where the EMFAC2014 is under its MSEI. Sorry, it's MSEI, not MESI. Okay. As I mentioned, EMFAC2014 is under review by US EPA. Once EPA approved EMFAC2014, we will definitely post the news online, as well as sending out emails through listserv to user. And if you have any questions, you can contact us at EMFAC2014@arb.ca.gov. So with that, I will pause for questions before I hand it to Andy Alexis.
Okay, so this is Vernon. We got a number of questions, and again, we're going to try to limit this to about 5 minutes just to stay on time. So the first question is from Amir Fanai, and the question is, does EMFAC calculate greenhouse gas based on engine test data?
It's already down.
Okay, we already, okay. Let's jump to Cheryl Laskowski. We answered that one too, okay. Do we need, let's see, Yu Jung Choi? Do we need to use EMFAC 2011 even for CEQA analysis?
Yeah, I can answer. Good. Hi, this is John Taylor with the Transportation Planning Branch. And yes, for CEQA analysis, you would want to use the current EPA approved model. So in this case, until EMFAC 2014 is approved, you will want to continue to use EMFAC 2011 for CEQA analyses.
Okay, and then John, another question regarding vision. Do you know when the new vision model will be available for download?
Yes, that is something we're working on. As a lot of folks know, we have the Vision 2.0 model now that we've updated our earlier iteration of Vision, and we are working to get that available. Don't have a date yet, but we'll keep folks posted as we work through that.
Very good. Thanks, John. Okay, next question was regarding EMFAC from Song Bai and regarding which pollutants will be directly impacted by the project-specific temperature and humidity data. My understanding that'll be all VOC pollutants.
So VOCs are impacted, NOx is impacted by relative humidity, and PM is not impacted by neither humidity or temperature. Regarding the rest of them, CO2 is impacted by temperature due to the air conditioning. And if there's any other pollutants, and CL is also impacted by both temperature and relative humidities.
Okay. From Andrea Lebowy. EV is included in 3 of the 4 modes. Is hydrogen fuel cell also included?
No, hydrogen fuel cells, hydrogen fuel cells are included as part of the EV, so we're assuming there, since EMFAC again is the tailpipe emission model, we're not estimating the upstream emissions, so we're assuming that the tailpipe emissions from EVs or battery electric vehicles or fuel cell vehicles are the same, so basically they're 0. So both of them are accounted for as part of the zero emission vehicles. There was another question earlier regarding the PM emissions for EVs. Yes, we are accounting for the tire wear and brake wear emissions from the electric vehicles, the same as for the conventional gasoline. So the reduction in the PM emission from the brake wear PM emissions from electric vehicle due to the brake regeneration is not accounted for in EMFAC due to the limited data on those on that reduction.
Okay, and then from Brian Schuster, can you please confirm that the emission rates mode does not provide emission rates for CO2 without PAVLI and ACC?
Yes, this is Jen. Yes, the PL mode does not provide the separate emission rate for CO2 without the ACC. We do the inventory, however, the model can be run under the special SB375 mode. So if you have other modeling condition consistent with the default assumption, you actually could get emission rate through the aggregated emissions that way.
Thank you, Jen. Okay, and then from Chris Sanchez, slide 3 of 3. What are the default assumptions for temperature and relative humidity? These data came from multiple years of basically historical data. I believe it was around 12 years of data. And then we took based upon whether we're looking at an ozone season or a PM season, the temperatures that are conducive to basically attainment. So it was a statistical analysis by which the temperature and humidity data were developed.
You're already at like 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah, so we have, there's several more questions, and just to stay on time, we're going to go ahead and move on at this point.